That was probably that's the longest 67 pages I've ever read in my life.
Yeah, gave you time to read it. I had to go back home and shower and then have to read it. So we're good to go now.
Why don't we talk about it a little bit more here?
Yeah.
Oh. And, well, I'll say welcome back. I'm Johnny.
I'm Chuck.
We're back to the Midnight Rider podcast. Wow, man, they released the 67 pages on this deal, and I tell you what, it's,
yeah, that's what it is.
God.
It's bad.
It's one of those deals where, and I want to say right now, I don't want to make light of what happened. This is bad. This is horrible. This is the
most vile thing I've read. It's painful to read.
It's painful. It's horrible. I mean, kudos for this woman for for going after him. Applause. Kudos,
right,
for stepping up against this machine that was Vince McMahon. I mean, going after her and sticking to her guns, and I'm going to go do this. So anytime we cut up and laugh of what's going on here, we're not making light of any of that situation. But some of this stuff is just it's just
so stupid. It's comical on some of them.
I mean.
Some of them trying to protect themselves.
Well, you get online, you get lost in the wormhole. Yeah. You start digging and you start diving in. I mean, we go back, and I found you find the old stuff.
Right, and that was my thing when this first came out. Nobody knew who Janelle Grant was.
Right,
really.
Right.
When it first came out, I'm thinking, okay, this was years and years ago when the WWE attitude
era
was going on, just to find out, no, this was like a year or two ago.
Right.
So he's been a disgusting human being for a long time.
Yeah, and
allegedly.
There's the first giggle.
Yeah.
Innocent till proven guilty. Okay, fine. The things that are in this, any of you that haven't read this, I'm sure most people who are watching this, you've read it, you've seen it, you're just as disgusted as we are. Like Chuck said in the opening, I had to go take a shower before you can start talking about this stuff. And it's only going to get worse.
No, there's going to be more.
More
coming.
He's being investigated now for sex trafficking. He was under federal investigation 5 months ago. I got a list of talking points here. It's unreal. $11.6 million he's paid in settlements over the years. I mean, wow. I mean, and according to what's going on here, it's like $1 or $2 million at a time. So, I mean, let's do the quick math here. I mean, you're talking. I mean, how many times has he gone through? Then they're all not getting offered $3 million and not getting paid. They're all getting something. So if you go $500,000, you're talking.
Well,
it's unreal.
Sounds like it was pretty uniform to what he did. Hey, let's start doing this. And by the way,
sure. I mean, and all the people that are coming out. Your Cornette, we watched, my wife and I, Tina and I watched one with RVD, and then we saw one with Jeff Jarrett. You see one with Bischoff. You see one with.
I saw Mark Henry come out a little bit.
Vince Russo came out and talked. I mean, you got lists of people that were there behind the scenes. Maybe not during this incident, but I mean, gosh,
that's what I'm curious about. What's going to come out, because one of the. I don't know what page it was on, but one of the things they talked about was that it was going on behind closed doors during, quote, business hours, and people were aware, but
no way,
nothing was said, and that's what I'm curious about. I feel bad for Stephanie, for Shane, but Linda, if they knew it. I don't know.
I have a hard time
about this.
I have a hard time thinking that everybody on the top floor didn't know.
Right.
There's and you've read it, I've read it. Hell.
Right.
There's many inferences in there about, is that the right word? Inferences?
That works for me.
That's a good
Wrestling
word.
fans, it works.
That's a hell of a good word. Anyway, that they're saying when this person would come walking down the hall, they would turn and walk away. They would avoid eye contact. They would. So you're not.
Yeah, but that there again, you're telling me that he did all this, and she's the only one at that point in time that this was going on with?
No,
there's no way.
No,
there's no way.
No,
especially the level of. I don't know what the word to use.
Well,
the level of what they were doing was going on, and
debauchery is a good word.
And
the thing is, I loved the day or two after, whenever her lawyer comes out and says that her email box is
it's full. Yeah.
This is gonna roll downhill so fast.
It's gonna pick up steam.
It's gonna come down so
I can only imagine.
fast. I mean, do you really think? I mean, there's so many different ways we can talk about this thing, and there's so many things to talk about. I mean, let's just try to kind of piece it together. Let's talk about Lesnar. It's out. Meltzer's come out, and what Meltzer says. I mean, you got to take it for fact. I mean, the guy knows his stuff.
Right.
He was supposed to be at the Rumble. He didn't get to the Rumble. He didn't technically do anything with this person. But he's been wiped off the face of the earth as far as WWE is concerned.
Right. He's gone off the game. He's getting the
yeah,
he's getting the Benoit treatment.
Exactly, he's gone.
Your name's out there, and now you no longer exist.
Well, I mean, perfect example. On the other day, they did after Cody won and the Rumble and everything. They did this list of everybody that's won at the number 30 place, which he has, and he wasn't mentioned. Quick.
Yeah,
that quick.
They're stepping away from it fast. Which I'm going to assume that's got to do with the TKO. I'm sure the word went down pretty fast. These names aren't getting mentioned anymore. We're done.
Well, TKO, I mean, they had him lined up. I've read a story, and I'm sure you did too. You read the stories where he was set up to make a comeback in UFC and do a couple heavyweight fights just to get him. I mean, make another million or two, whatever. But I mean, now he's gone. I mean, this is.
The UFC is going to be the WWE. I think they're going to be fine, but they're going to have to withstand what's getting ready to hit. Well, and I think that's why they're distancing themselves from everybody, everything right now.
I don't want to go out there. We don't. We're just a couple of fans who've watched wrestling our entire lives. We follow it. We live. We breathe it. And hell, like I've mentioned before, I made a game of it. We're up to 450 wrestlers, by the way. I made
still more to go.
Made a few more for you that you haven't seen some of them. No. I did some tag team matches the other night. You need to get over here and play a couple. I digress. In my opinion, there's just no way the upper level of this organization didn't know what was going on. There's going to be a list about this long of people that they're going to want to subpoena. They're going to want to have a conversation. They're obviously, I mean, for him to come out and say, I'm going to fight this in court and I'm going to prove my innocence, bullshit. Yeah, you're not going to, no, you can't. No. I'm all about innocent until proven guilty, but dude, nobody's gonna make all of this up. 67 pages.
67 pages.
There's stuff in here that wouldn't be put in movies. Then it's just vile. It's just unreal.
No, he's. Yeah, I want to hear his statement. I really do. I want to hear how he's going to defend this and how. Because they're going to go after her. They're going to try to go after her with everything they can, and it's going to make it even worse.
But
on them
at this point, she doesn't got anything to lose
because you can't pay her off now. You done jacked that up.
I mean, it's all out there. Everything that was done to this poor girl, and anything they say going to make it worse? Hell no. It's not going to make anything worse. Bring it on. What do you got?
I'm waiting for the talent to start coming out. Your divas from.
Years
your
ago,
Tori Wilsons, your Stacy Keeler's, the ones who were all
years ago.
You can't tell me they were all voluntarily saying, "Hey, put me in a bra and panty match." I mean, there was all stuff that I would almost bet money that's going to start coming down the way too. That
probably
that they were told, "No, this is what you're doing," and
you're fired.
Well, it's not as bad as this,
obviously.
But it's still a level of it.
Well, was there what just with all the other payouts over the years. This is not the only one.
No.
And I applaud the wrestlers taking the question. After the show, after the Rumble, Cody took the question.
Nobody's avoiding it.
I mean, they even went, and after, the NXT thing, they had Shawn Michaels make a statement, which I think is kind of, you look at Shawn Michaels' history.
Your spokesperson.
Not the sponsor you want in this particular situation.
It's like getting Sonny out of jail and having her come and talk about it.
Exactly. And then, Triple H had it in his, John Paul Levesque. Mm-hmm. Had his, after Rumble conference, and he took it on. He took it on like a man. Said it, boom, and we're done, and let's move on. I mean, the product itself. Let me back up. We're either going to start seeing people resign, or come forward. They're if you don't come forward, and you've got some kind of knowledge, you're gonna resign. They're gonna force you out.
Mm-hmm.
TKO is not gonna put up with this.
No, they can't. Want every remnant of this gone.
Right.
Well, nobody said. I mean, I haven't seen it. I haven't heard from Shane, Steph, anybody. I mean,
and I don't think we're going to.
Right.
I mean,
they've been gone for a while.
Well,
there's a reason. Shane stepped away.
Yeah.
I'm sure that nobody knew about, but
right
now you start to think, because there was always rumblings back then that he didn't approve of a lot of the storylines, and he was in and out a couple of times. But he, it was a known fact out there that he didn't like some of the directions
that's correct
that Vince would go, so he would step away and go do his own thing.
That's correct.
There's no way Stephanie could have.
I don't know. I mean,
you hope not anyway.
The stair step of the family of this power that had that kind of power over this many people, over the whole organization. There's a long list of people over the years, and it's all starting to come out on and these aren't just words. These are not just these are actual facts that came to pass years and years and years ago, from the old WWF days to now. I mean, hell, we found an old Donahue TV show online the other day and watching it when Vince got on there.
When he was,
I mean, he had nobody. He came out and he was coming out against the homosexual allegations against Pat Patterson and all that stuff. I mean, that was out there. I mean, this
isn't it's not a coincidence.
No,
no,
and
all this is going to start forming together, and
the power involved. In the shadiness of the profession back in the day, the Grizzly Smiths.
That's another podcast.
Exactly.
Anybody who's watched it for a long time knows that.
Well, everybody that's watching this podcast, you're all big wrestling fans, and you've all watched the Dark Side of the Ring. We've all watched those episodes, and we've seen all this stuff and all the seedy stuff. The seedy underbelly of the sport, if you will. I mean.
But for those of you who aren't as old as we are, go back and look at some of that.
Yeah.
Like you said, the Grizzly Smiths, the old Fritz von Erich days, some of the stuff that they would do.
even as Bill Watts, he was I mean, he was not a fun person to work for or work with.
Who was the St. Louis guy? Drawing a blank on him.
Yeah, well,
he was one of the most.
It'll pop in here.
They did stuff that was.
Leroy McGurk was Oklahoma City.
McGurk was here.
Paul Bosch.
Yes.
Paul Bosch.
Bosch was. I thought he was Houston.
He was Houston.
Yeah. Anyway, whoever they were.
It will pop in our head in a minute.
It's never been.
If you know who we're missing, comment on the bottom.
It's never been a upstanding business on the backside of it.
No, and whenever he started to shut down all the territories, when the WWF and the NWA or WCW was there, and they started wiping out the territories, and everybody started going one way or the other. The AWA blew up, and then now we're down to just the WWF and the WCW. There was a lot of baggage in those areas. A lot of people lost a lot of money. A lot of people, were chased out. A lot of people were forced out, and that still continued into the bigger organizations.
Right.
It just did. And there's story after story after story telling about it, and it's just. Let's start with. Let's move on here. The allegations are there. We see it. We know that Vince is being pointed at. Mr. Laurinaitis is another question I've got.
Poor guy.
How do you come out and say how do you agree with what statements were made, but then say it didn't happen because I'm a victim.
Yeah, that he was forced to do it.
No, he said he didn't do it. I didn't do it. He did it, but I was a victim because he made me do it. But I didn't do it. I'm lost. I
think the phrase you're looking for is piece of shit. I think that's the phrase you're gunning for.
Yeah, I don't get the strategy.
You were there, and now you're trying to backpedal and you're trying to run for cover because you've got other entities in your family, Bella twins,
right?
And that you're about to throw because they came out with a statement real fast.
Yeah, and their statement wasn't say we support our dad.
Right.
No. We support everybody in here, and this should be a safe workplace.
They came
good
out
for
quick.
them. Good for them.
But Laurinaitis was,
again, all of this is alleged, and all of this is out there.
Yeah.
But I'm having trouble with the. I didn't do it. I was a victim. You're what is he? 6'5", 6'7"?
Yeah, you're coming out on top of this. Sorry for short words. You're coming out on a level here with this young woman who has been
brutalized,
mentally she'll never be the same. No matter what.
Right.
And you're really going to throw out there that you're the victim of Vince McMahon.
I was forced to do that because I would have lost my job. Okay, so continuously victimize a woman or lose your job. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm losing my job.
Yeah, I think I pretty much know where I'm going.
How that's not a... I don't know. Maybe he's just throwing it out there and he's trying to work on a plea deal right now. I'll talk about it. I'll spill everything I got. Give me a deal. I'll give you everything I got. Maybe that's where he's going. I'm
sure they're probably going down the list of people there.
I don't
know. There was, what was it? Defendant 1, 2, 3, and 4. Of course, they're not knowing names yet.
Corporate.
Those of us who
we all
we don't know it.
No.
We don't know all the inner workings.
No. There's so many.
There's names I would guess.
We would all throw names out.
I could guess Bruce Pritchard. I could guess Kevin Dunn. I could guess a few. Don't know if it's them or not.
No, there's names out there.
Names,
but then again, that's just the hierarchy that's been there forever. But them not being named, that means they're not being accused.
Not yet.
But they're in the know. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, she wouldn't have put them in the statement because they know something.
And I don't see how this is going to get settled. I'm not a legal guy, but I don't know any way this is not going to go to a trial of some kind. At this point, she's not going to just say, "Give me $50 million and I'll just go away." I wouldn't think.
But with TKO being the guys, see something else that we read today that came out, and some of these non-disclosures that he had people sign over the years, the 11 million whatever that he's paid out over the years. It's come out that he signed them both as Vince McMahon and both as the WWE.
The holding company or whatever.
You can't do that.
So obviously, then you can do anything you damn well please.
Yeah. Let me rephrase that. That's not legal to do. So again, we're not attorneys, but I'm just curious as to see where that goes. Does it still make the WWE liable in any way because he didn't have the authorization nor the right to sign for the WWE on any non-disclosure agreement? Well,
you would think he would. You would think he's got a loophole around.
Do they aim it as he's the one? He is
WWE.
Well, he is a personal entity with that document, and the organization itself didn't do anything wrong. I don't know where it's going to go. It's got so. This is one of those.
It's a daily thing.
It is. It's going to change on a daily basis, and. By golly, if there's something we're missing, please comment down here and let us know what we're missing. You can watch stuff online all day long from several different folks are talking about this. Anything we're saying you may have already heard. I don't know. We just needed to get out here and talk about it because it's just so important in the world itself of professional wrestling. We're such huge fans for so many years, and so it brings me to this. Are we?
See, this extends past wrestling. That's the thing.
It doesn't.
This is
what's happened is
McMahon's made this a global entity, and he's made this as mainstream as it has ever been.
Right.
And so now you're about to you're about to just get hammered on so many levels. I haven't seen ESPN come out with anything yet, other than the original statements, which they've been a big follower. I mean, they've been one of the big pushers of keeping this mainstream.
Sure.
And
sure,
I would love to be a fly on the wall of UFC and Dana White and TKO and listen to some of these conversations.
Yeah, I mean, how do you? I mean, they handle it. I mean, I think they're handling it well. I mean, hell,
they are.
Their spokesperson the other day, somebody asked her, what do you do about this? She said he's no longer a part of this company. He's no longer part of it. He's not a holder. He's not a. Yep. He's not
involved with us.
He has nothing to do with us whatsoever. Next question, and that's super answer.
Yep. He's not TKO. He's not WWE. He's nothing. He's
gone. It shows the difference of a well organized and run company and what the WWE has been.
Yeah. Because I think McMahon, if he was still like he was.
That's Scarlett, by the way.
His dumbass would have gone on, CNN or something and tried to defend himself.
Well, I don't know. It's just gonna spiral down, and it's gonna. I don't want it. I personally don't want it to harm the product. I don't think it. I think they're going to come out on top on this deal.
They will. I think it's going to take some time, and they're going to lose some people.
It's a horrible event to happen, and it's a horrible thing that went on, and no matter what gets proven or whatever, you can't say you can't say it's all made up. No. Something went down. No. Something went down, and if there's an exaggeration in there, okay, fine. And we're back. Had a little bit of we're outdoors here, as you all know, who've been watching us. We're out here in my outbuilding, and every now and then we get a motorcycle. On Saturdays, we get a motorcycle parade down our main street out here, and the dogs wanted to go say hi, so we had to take a little bit of a break. But we are back. We were trying to wrap up the current situation. You said you had a story or something.
We're just going to get back before we move on and get past this. Stuff. McMahon, and this is from the Wall Street Journal. So, he's paid more than $12 million over the past 16 years to suppress allegations of sexual misconduct and infidelity. Wow. Payouts went to 4 women, all formerly affiliated with WWE, who had to sign NDA agreements to prohibit them from discussing legal claims against their relationship or anything that happened.
Wow. So we can assume that these particular allegations are true, just by looking at this, because it's
and it doesn't say one of those 4 women is Janelle Grant. I mean, this may be 4 other women that.
So there's at least 3 more,
right?
If not 4 more, and those are the only ones that actually. I mean, how many more are going to come out of the woodwork now? Now that she's opened up this I mean, here it comes, man. Bring it on.
Oh, they're coming.
I hope this just needs to be just.
That's why I wonder if somebody like, choose my words carefully, Laurinaitis, if he was mistreated in all 4 of these acts,
right?
With all 5 of these women,
right?
Because it's if he's going to be involved with one, you would only assume McMahon brought him in on multiple occasions.
Well, we're going to continue to watch this like everybody else in the known universe, whether you're a wrestling fan or not. This is
more than just wrestling.
This needs to be followed, watched, and we're going to stay up on it. That's kind of what we do here, and but let's move on to what, if anything, is this going to do to the current product? I think it's strong enough to survive. I think the move for TKO had TKO not purchased them, this would have probably killed it.
Which makes me wonder if they. I mean, I don't know if they. I would only assume they didn't know about this coming. Maybe they were only aware of everything was shut down, and
I don't know.
I think there's a strong coincidence that The Rock got involved. And
when he did, as quickly as he did,
Sure.
overnight, basically.
And
one day he's not part of it. The next day, hey, all of a sudden you're
right.
part of it. We're going to give you your name and everything else. What can you do for me? Help us, please help us.
And now what's looking like is he's going to probably headline their biggest show of the year.
And that's what's going to be upsetting now. We watched SmackDown last night, and why, oh, why, oh, why do you, I mean, this has to, what's happened here has got to be part of some of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It's gotta be.
For all of we fans who've waited the entire year for Cody to win the Rumble again, and for Cody to go back and get Reigns, and for Cody to beat Reigns, and for the bloodline to end, we've all been waiting for it. Here we go. It's that time. They let him win it again. Here we go. Well, I'm going to step out of the way and let let The Rock be played. Yeah, come on.
And
come on.
It's got to be. And the word is that it was going to be a lead up to possibly next year's WrestleMania. But I think between Lesnar getting wiped out of the picture, Punk getting hurt, McMahon being a dumbass, here we go.
This is where we're at.
We got to get a positive spin. We got to get the world talking about something that's big that's not related to this.
But the wrestling world, the wrestling fans, the universe, everybody, they would blow the lid off that stadium when Cody pins Roman Reigns. It couldn't get any bigger.
No.
You bring in.
But I wonder how much with, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, with The Rock now being part of the board, how much of it was him pushing, saying, no, we've been talking about this for a while. Put me in there. Let me garner attention away from this.
Well, he can garner attention in many ways, but you can't, number one, you can't put the belt.
I don't think it's going to be a title match
around The Rock.
I think they're going to.
So you're going to have WrestleMania have a main event that's not for the title.
But okay. Without the McMahon thing, I would say yes. But now that the McMahon thing's going on, I would not put him past him to throw the title on him and then have him come out a week or two later and say, I just wanted it away from the bloodline. I'm giving it up, and then we go another direction.
But it's
I don't know.
Still,
they've got things so.
For Cody to come out, what he said last night, the way they wrote it, the script that they wrote, I still want your title.
I'm coming after you.
But not right now.
That's the part that makes me think they're not going to have it. I think they're going to have a head of the table bloodline match.
Well, that's fine. But if they put Cody against Rollins again, which we've seen over and over and over.
And that's a no-win situation. Cody wins. If Cody wins, fine, cool. He's got the other belt.
Who cares?
That's not what the world was wanting.
It's not about this belt. It's about beating Roman Reigns and getting him out of power.
Right. And if Rollins wins, then you've done the whole thing, the whole year build-up, Royal Rumble win for Cody and all this for nothing again, for 2 years in a row.
Right, for Cody to not win anything and not to have, the Rollins title has been, I'm sorry. It was it was a weak attempt to get back to the two brands. That's all it was.
And they had to, because Reigns can't wrestle all the time, so they had to have somebody with a quote world title.
Sure, but
everybody loves Rollins.
Well,
Rollins is good.
But if you go back to the old school back in the day, you saw it as many times as I do. When they would make the mistake of giving one guy two titles, which I've. As long as you're going to watch this podcast, and I hope you last forever, because we're going to do this a very long time. You're going to hear me say this 1,000 times. I got my old Mid-South shirt on here. Whenever they give one guy two titles, it just pisses me off. It just
learn how to start expressing yourself.
It really just and then one of the few times I've seen it work is whenever they say, okay, well, so and so's got the world title and the U.S. title, and so he's gonna have a match tonight for just the U.S. title. Then you drop it, and somebody takes the U.S. title, and you go, he's still the world title. I'll buy that But I am so tired of them giving one guy 2 belts. And
they don't need 2 world champions. I've said that for a long time.
No, they don't. They need one guy that can hit both shows.
And I think that
it's not that hard.
And I think they ran into the problem because of Reigns' medical issues, and then they had to do because he had him for so long and he was the champion, but now I think they've got to do a turnaround because I may be wrong, hell, I don't know, but I just don't think he can perform as much as he's still good when he's there, but
yeah.
He only performs once every couple months, 2-3 months.
Sure, but I mean, they're doing it with the Judgment Day. They're doing it with Damage Control. People are going to both shows. They're hitting Raw and they're hitting SmackDown. I just say if you're going to get the big belt, if you're going to have the title, if they're going to wrap that strap around you, my guy, you're going to be at both shows every week until we take it off of you, or you say you're tired, because that's what you need to have. You need to have the IC belt at one location, the US champ at the other location, and the world champion going back and forth. To have a world champion and a WWE Universal, I never liked it when they split it to begin with.
No, I never liked it when they split it, and I think that's what they were doing until the Reigns leukemia problem. Then they said, okay, well, he can't perform, so we've got to have a world title somewhere.
Right.
So throw it on Rollins. Everybody loves Rollins. And have him do it.
But can you remember? I tried the other day, and I didn't want to look it up. I wanted to use my brain, and it didn't work. Who did he beat to win that second title? He had the Universal belt. And then he beat somebody for the WWE Championship. To gather, remember, because then he carried the 2 belts, and it was a very wonderful entry the way he did it. Who did he beat to get that second title? I can't remember who they took that belt off of to give him both titles, because the Universal, the Universal, or did he win the Universal Championship and he had the WWE title? See, the whole thing.
I think he had the WWE.
Yeah, because the whole
Universal was Raw, and he was.
Because the whole thing here is about, and I know it is, and anybody can say it's not. I mean, I'm not in the room, and they're wanting to keep that belt on him long enough to say he had the belt longer than Hulk Hogan. It's obvious that's what they're shooting for. It's still another 200 and some odd days away.
That's why I'm thinking they're not going to do a title match. It's going to go all the way till next year, I think.
Well, I think it's going to go to SummerSlam. I think SummerSlam they're turning it around. Because
is that when he finally passes him?
Well, I mean, you're only talking 230 days or 220 days now, and you got 3, 6, 9, 10, SummerSlam. SummerSlam should get him there. So The Rock wrestles him at WrestleMania. It's a head of the table match or whatever the hell they're going to call it. He wins that. The bloodline starts to implode. They slowly start turning on each other. He has no support. Cody finally gets his match, and Cody beats him. That's great. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. But I still don't like the fact that you got a non-title match at WrestleMania. I mean, hell, you said yourself, I didn't see this online. You said you saw a lot of, on the WWE channel, about The Rock last night?
Oh, about the YouTube had on that, they do the little clips, and
right.
The Rock Reigns stare down has become the most disliked clip in WWE history.
This is Henry, by the way. He wants to come up here and discuss this.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, fans. I mean, everybody. Your mainstream is gonna follow it because of The Rock, and I would assume that's why they're going this route. Try to get people to get involved instead of worrying about Vince McMahon's stuff.
Yeah, well, and I mean,
but I just don't know.
I don't think. I mean, putting it like we said this, we'll say it over and over and over and over and over and over. I don't want to diminish anything that happened in this to this lady, but for this to come out at this time of year is probably the best thing for the WWE, because it's your road to WrestleMania. You had your Royal Rumble, which was lackluster. I get it. It wasn't the greatest Royal Rumble pay-per-view ever. But you had your Royal Rumble, which is your second big, I think it's your number, it should be. But anyway, then you got the road to WrestleMania. You've got all the events around WrestleMania. You've got all of the big so-called build-up and all the stops and all the house shows.
And you still got Elimination coming.
Then you got Elimination Chamber coming in, which is another big one. And then this is a good time for them to kind of take a controversy or this shit that they've got thrown out there and put it to the side and try to overshadow what's there. It's not going to overshadow it by any means, but they got a chance with it. But you got to do it right. I mean, and for them to think, and why they always want to go back to the old guys. And I mean, if you're going to bring in a Stone Cold to stun somebody at the end, that's great. That's fun. That's exciting. If you're going to bring The Rock in to maybe cheat or prevent the bloodline from cheating to help Roman Reigns, and then let Cody pin Roman Reigns and that's fantastic. That's a super ending to a great WrestleMania card. But to pull him completely off of it, have Cody go in there and
main event day one probably
and say what he said. Right. The way he said it, and looked like a depressed, just so sad guy walking out. It just sits so wrong, just so wrong, in my opinion.
I don't know. I got to see where they go with it, because you still got another premium live event before that.
He did it again. He did it this time. It wasn't me. He said pay per view.
I want to see what they're going to do with it. And there's still talk of the other brother coming in. I saw 2 more stories about it this weekend.
Booker T's pushing so hard.
And if anybody's watched Jacob Fatu, what he does, he's good. I mean, it could be another extension to what they do. Do
you think the Usos are going to get back together before WrestleMania, or do you think they're going to go against each other?
I think they'll
go. We've seen it so many times.
I'm thinking they'll go against each other in WrestleMania, and if the Reigns thing goes like what I think, and he loses and he'll be out for a while, I can see he's out as head of the table. Jimmy and Jay fighting. At the end of the match, they hug it out. They all become one again. The other Fatu appears, and then you got a whole new bloodline, and you just take off from there.
It's a good story.
It's a good story.
I mean, them two come to face to face. The first contestants at the Rumble's great.
It was a good move.
It was a good move. Good heat. It was wonderful. They've wrestled against each other before. We've seen it. Everybody's seen it, and they're really good together in the ring. Mm-hmm. They work well. I mean, hell, they were trained to do it. I don't know.
There's ways you can do it. You can bring Rikishi back in. You can bring
Rock in.
But you can really make it a big deal. And I think that's. I mean, if they're going to go all the way with The Rock here, they better bring some stuff with it.
Well, if he's going to,
you can't do a straight up match and let him win and be done with it.
If you're going to play that I'm coming in to take the head of the table, which he said, I don't know, a month ago or whatever on SmackDown. If he's going to come in and do it, then do it.
Yeah, like I said, you're going to bring in Rikishi. You're going to bring in. I think Alpha's in the hospital. You're going to have to bring in Sika. You're going to have to bring in. You're going to bring in the bloodline.
I don't think you need to go back to the Samoans. I think you bring in Rikishi to slap his kids.
If they're going to go that way, they better make a story out of it instead of just that.
They're going to have to do. They're going to have to make it big. They're going to have to make it grand. Right. That's why I think it would have been so good if The Rock could have,
just had a part in it,
and let Cody win it. But then again, they really, really want him to take the Hogan title, to take the Hogan date. Give him the longest reigning champion. And I get it. I mean, once I calm down and I think about it,
it's running out of steam.
They're
running out of things to do.
Yeah, but especially right now with what's happened, you want everybody to forget about the WWF. You want everybody to forget about the Attitude
Pro
era.
Wrestling.
You want everybody
to
stop thinking about the Vince McMahon era. Right. They want this to be the new TKO era, or if they're not involved, the Triple H era. They want this to be different, so you can't continue to be this new and improved and better and great if you're still saying our longest reigning champion was Hulk Hogan. They've already stopped talking about San Martino. They've already stopped talking about Backlund. No. Pedro Morales is never mentioned. And so all you've got is Hulk Hogan and what's happening right now. And they've got to sweep. They've got to get rid of it. And
that's why
I think they're moving that way.
I would almost guarantee that's why the change in the switch of, instead of Cody going after Reigns, they said, okay, well, we got to get the world talking about something else. Yeah. So throw The Rock out there.
Well, you get The Rock out there, and he always brings in viewership. Mm-hmm. But let's stop. Let's pause give me a couple minutes and pause this for a second. I'll be right back. And we're back. Once again, had a short break there. Had to, things have to be done sometimes. So you got to leave. You got to run and talk, and you get tired. I don't get tired. I never get tired of talking.
Yeah.
People tell me that. That seems to be a problem. But that's why we're doing a podcast, because I get, whatever. Again, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. There's a little sign up here asks you to do such a thing. Plus, check us out on Facebook,
Instagram.
Follow. Comment. Subscribe. The more we get, the more fun we can have with this deal. And we really want to keep this thing going. So, we were almost done with the SmackDown crew. Who did we forget?
The Bayley turn, the Bayley story.
Bayley!
She finally turning for her, and
she finally did.
Finally letting her do her thing.
And it went old school. It went old school. You know how it went old school?
Awesome.
They took these foreigners in the wrestling world, and
You say foreigners?
But that's what wrestling's about. I mean, you look at your Nikolai Volkov, you look at your Iron Sheik, you look at your, I mean, Bill Watts went in the Mid-South Irish Far Call wrestler, the Libyan. I mean, come on. You always have the Russian thing. You always have that. And I tell you what,
they did it well.
The Kabuki Warriors are so
They built the story up. They did. Well, all three of them are good. And that's what makes it so good is all four of them.
Asuka, when Asuka's on a roll, my goodness.
She's good.
My goodness,
yeah.
she's. I mean, whenever she first showed up, she just blew my doors off. Is how good she was. Then Io Sky showed up, and Kairi Sane is. I mean, together they're just so good. And then they've been poking at us. And how long they've been poking this story at us?
And months and months, and it's an old school good story build up.
Yes.
Everybody knew it was coming.
Yes.
Just a matter of when they're going to happen, when they're going to pull the trigger.
Well, the little twist last night that was so good is when Bayley went in there and she started speaking to them in Japanese.
Perfect.
I mean,
it's awesome.
By golly, that was a great one. Whoever the booker or the storyteller, kudos, big guy, or like whoever did it, kudos. That was great. It was a great way to go about it.
Sorry, that looks like that. I mean, if you're just guessing that looked like it had a Michael Hayes.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Hayes touch on that one. That was old school stuff.
That was old school. It was done well.
She even pulled out the old lead pipe.
Yes, she got the lead pipe. She was ready for it, and I think it's going to be a good match. I mean, Bayley's always been good. She tells a story. She takes good bumps. She gives good bumps. And Io Sky's just
they walked through.
Io Sky's just good.
But the interesting part about that I thought was Dakota Kai wasn't out there.
Yeah, she's been hurt.
Well, she's been hurt for a long time, but
why did she not?
Well, I think they're saving that for her to see which side she goes on.
Could have been a travel issue. I mean, but I mean,
if you put, I'm going to go say it's part of the story.
Really?
Travel issue.
You really?
That's boring.
So you think Dakota Kai's going to come out and help Bayley?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I think they're going to leave that up in the air.
Be a great move.
Yeah. So you don't know which way she's going to go.
Well, Damage Control's had such a great faction for such a long time. Mm-hmm. If you're going to split it up, I mean, I get it. Mm-hmm.
I thought they were. I thought they were going to mess it up when they brought Asuka into it. I thought, okay, well now they're about to really mess it all up. Right. But they've picked it up, and now it's going to be a good lead right into Mania. It's going to be it's going to be a good match. They'll still put on a good match.
For the longest time, they kept trying to make the women's tag titles worth something. Mm-hmm. And they tried so many times. And the first time they had the titles, it started to go up. But then Kairi Sane got hurt, and so she had to leave, and then they had to drop them, and then they had to rebuild, and they couldn't find that. They couldn't find that team to run it. Now they do. Well, now you got them who've got the belts, and now you've got Jade Cargill in the mix. Now she's going to be on Raw. But you got Belair who's going to be on SmackDown. Or is she going to be on SmackDown? She's going to be on SmackDown. Cargill's going to be on SmackDown. She signed. Contract, so now you got those two on SmackDown. So do they become a team? Or
I don't know.
Well,
I think that's another.
Well, Mania.
I think that's going to be a Mania match.
Well, Mania.
One way or another.
What, those two?
Yeah, I think. What's a better way than to throw those? I mean, that's what everybody in the wrestling world's been talking about for years. Is those two?
Well, they're practically identical as far as what they can do. Good. But Belair's not going to be a heel because she's got the
TV show.
TV show starting up. I just don't know if you. I don't know if you turn Cargill heel so quick, though, man.
Oh, she plays a good heel, though. If you ever watched her any in AEW, she can play.
I did.
She can play the heel.
I did.
They misused her. They tried to do the whole Goldberg streak thing with
they
her.
misuse everybody.
Which was
over
very.
There. See here, he's going to get me on AEW.
Very. I'm not going to talk about it because you'll get to rambling. And
you're going to get me on it to get AEW. Then I'm going to start getting all upset again because it's not real.
It is. Wrestling. Good lord.
Anyway,
let's move to Raw.
Ooh, Ripley. Monday Night Raw. Rhea Ripley, who refuses, should I say, the universe refuses to make her a heel.
They won't do it. She's too good. She's too fun to watch.
That's
why I think they're going. They're going to throw the Nia. I think that's going to be the Nia Jax thing, of course. And who else are they going to put Nia against? Because she hurts everybody. She wrestles. She does something stupid.
Well, yeah, but I don't want her to hurt Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, I think you got a little bit of the. I hate bringing his name up, but a little bit of the Brock Lesnar effect with Ripley. If somebody actually hurts her, you're probably going to end up paying for it in that match.
She'll
give it back. So.
Well, that's true. I mean, you can't. I mean,
You can only put so many people up against Ripley.
Well, you can,
size to make it look believable.
But Rhea sells. I mean, she's one of those people that could go against a Rey Mysterio and look like he's kicking her ass.
Right.
She sells so well. She's just one of the best on the female side. She's
one of the best ever.
She might be the best one I've ever seen.
And the Judgment Day is one of the best factions. They've
they're going to have
they've watered it down a little bit.
What are they going to do? I mean, are they going to give in and let Ripley be a face? If they're going to give in finally and let her go face, I mean, Priest is almost there. That
and you can always let her run that fine line like Austin did for years.
But you can't run that fine line if you're part of a heel faction. You can't. Can you do that? I mean, how do you play? How do you pull that off?
I don't know, because I think some people are going to be upset. I mean, if you break up that faction that's been so good on different. I mean, they've gone from losing all the time to dominating to they've done. I think they've done pretty well with it.
Yes, to this point so far.
Right.
I'm
like you. I don't know where
the R-Truth thing is a little. I didn't like it.
Well, I think they finally. I think that's what the last thing was about. I think that was just their way of squashing that. Hopefully, because nothing else has come of that so far. So hopefully that's the end of that.
Well, yeah.
I get the R-Truth humor thing. He's funny. He's got his place in it.
No, sure. If you go on YouTube and watch all the clips where he makes people laugh, that's really good stuff.
I mean, he's good. Everybody loves him.
He's good at what he does, and he's
But if you're going to make them a serious faction or whatever, you got to get that element out of it.
Sure. Sure. Well, I mean, Ripley, the only thing that she had lined up for WrestleMania is Nia Jax. Unfortunately, I've never been a big fan of her, of Jax. She doesn't, her ring abilities are weak. She can't sell. She's only 2 or 3 things she can do in the ring. She reminds me of a Hulk Hogan.
Well, the only other person I can think that they would do anything with would be Becky, but there's nothing going on as far as Ripley right now.
Well, so, I mean, you got the Chamber coming up. I mean, we got Chamber coming up,
which will determine something.
You put Jax in there. You put Becky in there. You got to
put Natty in there.
Put Natty in there. Then you've got 2 more you put in there. The winner gets Rhea.
She gets the title, which is probably what's going to happen.
It's probably going to happen. It's been a while since Becky's been in the headlines. It's been a while since she's been a main eventer. If you want a good match, you're going to put Becky in there against Rhea Ripley. If you want something that was part of the Rumble and part of the aftermath, you're going to put Nia Jax in there. But then what do you do with Becky?
Yeah.
What do you do with Becky?
Yeah, you've got to build something else for her because
there's not really anything left.
No.
Bailey's right now. Bailey's the big story. Deservedly so.
Oh,
I mean, she's worked her ass off for that. In the women's division, she's worked her ass off.
That's why I think it's going to be Rhea and Jax. It's because they've had such a build up on Nia Jax, and I think that's just that's the way they're going to run it.
I still wish. I think it would have been better played if they'd have brought her in, let her be part of the bloodline. That way, you don't have to. She didn't have to wrestle much. She could just be a quote enforcer out there because she can knock down most guys. Where she could be. It's noon. Here comes the. Oh, we're going to pause here. We got the
noon
siren going off. We'll be right back. And back once again Saturday afternoon doing a podcast, and you get the what day? What is today? Anyway, what's the date? We always do that at the opening.
February 3rd.
February 3rd.
Oklahoma, we run 12 o'clock sirens.
Darn right we do.
Make sure we all know what a tornado sounds like.
And my 4 dogs like to go out there and tell us the sirens are going on, so I didn't want to put that on here. But it's entertaining, though.
Then it scares our visitors.
That scares our visitors. That's true. But anyway, Judgment Day, I mean, they want to keep it. They want to, Priest. What are they going to do with is he going to use the Money in the Bank at WrestleMania? Is he going to, because see, the thing about it is if you believe everything you read, which on most wrestling casts, hell, the people that are coming out are telling you what's going on. They got behind the scenes shit all the time now, telling us that Lesnar was supposed to come in there and toss Dominic out at the Rumble. He was supposed to face Dominic Mysterio at Chamber for some unknown reason.
Well, yeah, why you throw that out there?
Well, because, okay, fine, that's Raw versus Raw, I get it. But now they're saying that Breakker is going to come in and take the Lesnar spot, which means Breakker, who did throw out Mysterio. So now Mysterio's supposed to go against Breakker.
But why? What is that? That means nothing.
Why would you have Lesnar go against Mysterio unless Priest is gonna come out maybe to defend him, but then you got Priest all by himself who's got a tag title with Balor, who's also got the Money in the Bank. I'm lost.
They're gonna they did the tag thing, the 4-way on SmackDown, and you got the 4-way on Raw that's coming. The winners are going to face them, so they're going to lose. I'm assuming they're going to lose those titles at Mania or Chamber whenever they put them up there. But
I think they got to lose them. They're not doing the titles any justice. When you've got a guy, you've got Damian, and I've always thought this from the time they won them. You got Priest, who's a great singles wrestler. You got Balor, who's always been a singles wrestler, and you put the tag belts on them for what reason I don't know.
Just because of the faction.
Just because of the faction,
right.
I guess. But if you're going to put the tag belts on, you put it on McDonough and you put it on Mysterio, so the other guys can come in and cheat for the 2 guys that shouldn't be able to win.
Mm-hmm.
That's good storytelling in my eyes. So but Priest has got to get. He's got to get a belt. He's got to turn that case in.
Yeah, this is just something else McMahon screwed up because with all this coming out, everything's changing now. Lesnar's wiped off. Now all your stories get changed. Now Punk's hurt, so now they're changing up. If you read the dirt sheets, what all was supposed to happen.
Sure.
Punk was supposed to get Rollins. Rhodes was supposed to get Reigns. Everything's changing now. Everything's in the mix, and it's a weird. It's going to be a weird setup. What we're going to do now.
It's going to change every day, and here we are on Saturday. Let's throw it out there. What do you think's going to do? Where's Gunther going to go? Because he was supposed to go against Rollins eventually,
right?
Because he was making the big deal at Rollins. What are they going to do?
I don't know what they're going to do. That's probably what's going to happen Monday night. I would assume.
Well,
you're going to find out who's going after him. But
I read another story this morning on another one. Another insider said that in the long term, it was supposed to be Lesnar against Mysterio, and then whatever happens there, and it's going to somehow twist and turn to lead that Lesnar against Gunther at Mania for the IC belt, which makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Makes 0 sense.
He's not an IC guy, so do you put?
But even then, like I said, that's wiped out. Now, if you want to throw Breakker in that, do you really have Gunther have this big old run and then have Braun Breakker, a newbie to the big roster, have him be the one to break it?
He won't break it. I think he goes in there and he might have a good match with Gunther. Gunther makes everybody look good.
Mm-hmm.
He's.
But at some point in time, you got to pull a belt off of him.
Well, yeah, you have to,
but when do you do it?
Well, the only way you pull it off, I think you pull it off, then you give him a shot at the big belt. But if they're going to put the belt on Cody, which is dumb, I understand things have happened, and I understand everything got kind of twisted on its head. But from what I see at this point, let's back up here. We're sitting here chopping these people's legs off because we don't like the way. What would we have done in this situation? How do you turn it? How do you twist it? If you want Reigns to beat Hogan, which we all agree that's what this is all about. It's not about the finish the story. It's not about.
No.
Cody. It's not about the bloodline. It's not about The Rock. It's about Reigns getting past Hogan so he can be the new longest reigning WWE champion. That's where we're at. That's what's going to happen. Boom, there. So how else do you play it if you don't? Because if you put Cody in there, he's going to have to beat Cody again at Mania to continue that line.
Right.
So I guess you have to do it this way.
I don't know. I mean, if they're in like I said, they're in a no-win situation with Mania with Cody and Rollins. If you have Cody win, then that's what 3-4 times he's beat Rollins.
Oh, he's already beat him 3.
So that just shoves over. Rollins down because he can't beat Cody.
Right.
You have Rollins win. Everything leading up for this whole year for Cody for the second year in a row is meaningless.
Correct.
But I guess you can run it that way, and I don't know. Have Rollins win, then have Priest cash in at Mania, and have them lose the tag titles, and then on day 1 and then day 2 he cashes in. And, I mean, because everybody knows that's the second tier heavyweight title anyway. Have Priest, come in and pull it off, or have Cody beat Rollins, have Priest cash in on Cody.
There you go. Are we really looking at that? To let Cody be a champion for a minute? I mean, are they really going to? Unless you're going
to have Priest cash in on the IC title. Well,
But then,
what do you do? Have Gunther and Breaker, Gunther beats Breaker, and then Priest comes out and cashes in on Gunther and breaks the streak. And
I think that's probably the best play for Gunther. For the Gunther story. That way
it frees him to go after Cody or Rollins. I mean, who knows how bad Rollins is hurt? Maybe he's hurt and needs time. I don't know.
Well, they're saying that. I mean, he's saying he's going to be back for Mania. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. Maybe.
Well, what I'm saying, if he's back for Mania, how healthy is he though? And do you have him lose the Rhodes for a 4th time?
Well, for the company in this particular situation, I think you have to.
Yeah.
I think you have to do it for the team. Yeah. I mean, you have to do it for the situation where you're at, because right now they're kind of limited on where they're at.
Yeah, because then like you said, then you got to have somebody pull the belt off of Rhodes so it frees him to go after Reigns. So
unless they do the stupid thing again of putting both belts on one guy. Which always seems to end up that way when you have 2 world champions. Yeah. Is for some reason they always end up crossing each other's paths. It's going to be curious how they're going to move forward. When Cody comes out and says, I am going to continue to chase you. I am going to come after that title. I am going to finish my story. I'm going to take everything away from you. I'm going to take you on, but not at WrestleMania. Okay.
But he also,
so then why?
I know this is a long shot.
So why would he even go against Rollins and go for that?
That's what I was going to say.
So as far as the story is concerned,
so I know it's a long shot.
Oh fuck!
You get the chance. So you win the Rumble, and what do you do when you win the Rumble? What is always said when you win the Rumble? You get the main event Mania.
You choose who you want to main event on Mania. You don't necessarily get a title shot.
It doesn't say it's an automatic title shot.
Correct.
Who is to say? Because if Rhodes didn't declare he's going after Rollins.
No, he didn't.
So
Rollins just made the speech Monday and said, "You need to come get me."
So, but everybody assumed he was going after Reigns.
Correct.
Okay, so now everybody's assuming, well, it's Rollins.
Correct.
With the state of the world of WWE right now, what's to say he changes that up and he says no? I mean, ideally it would have been Punk, but I don't know who else it would be. I'm just spitballing here. Nothing says he has to go after Rollins.
No, he doesn't.
Maybe Rollins has another.
He doesn't have to go after a title. It just says you get to main event.
Mania.
So night 1, he's going to wrestle whoever he wants.
To main event.
On main event, night 1, and Reigns and The Rock, for some unknown reason, they're going to main event night 2.
Go main event night 2. I mean, it's 95% chance it'll be Rollins and Cody Rhodes, but there's that little part of me that's thinking, man, with all these changes they've had to do last minute, they could. I mean, you still got a couple months to build something up.
Why? Okay. Okay. I'm with you here. Okay, let's play long shot for a second. Okay, work with me on this one.
Always do.
Cody's statement was this: I'm not just going to take your title. I'm going to take everything away from you.
Mm-hmm.
What if Cody says, I want my main event match to be me and Jay against Jimmy and Sikoa. We want to beat those two, and then I'm going to beat you.
That's one way to go. You'll piss off the wrestling world even
more. It'll
more.
Piss them off, but I mean, I'd personally rather see that than see him against Seth Rollins.
Right.
I don't want to see a Cody Rhodes Seth Rollins match.
Not again.
I don't want to see it again. I mean, the one in the cage where he had the torn pec, that's probably one of the greatest matches I've seen.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just because of I felt every chop Rollins gave him, they'll never top what they did that night.
And like I said, this is a no-win situation with Rhodes and Rollins.
Right.
You either bury Rollins, or
Rhodes says, "I won again. Who cares?"
This is not the title. He made it clear it's not the title he wants.
That's correct. That's not the that's the title I want. So
he kept saying that's the title. That's the title my dad got to hold on to. That's the title.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. He's going to step up and say, "I get my title. I get my main event.
I'm going to get you.
This is what my main event is going to be. I get my choice. This is my choice. The question is, what is his choice?" Right. That's a hell of an idea. I mean, that would be one way to swerve it a little bit.
They're going to have to do it Monday. They don't have to do it Monday night. You got to give.
Well, Chambers coming up in what 2 weeks? You
got to give the fans right.
You got to give them something. You got to give them a reason.
The only other thing that I was thinking of is if for some reason Rollins really isn't going to be ready for Mania, and this is just part of the story.
Right.
That it's somewhere along the lines between now and then he loses his title with Priest or something, and then Rhodes goes against whoever that is. That's the only other way they can do it.
Yeah, I don't.
But Rollins is hurt, so who knows?
Well, the timeline is. Well, you got to think they're monitoring that every single day, and the closer it gets, if they've got to bail him out, they'll. I think they'll punk him out. They'll put him in the ring one night, and Priest will come out and cash in because he's got a cast on his leg or some weird crap like that. I mean, everything's possible.
It is now.
I mean,
because you think about it.
There's no rules.
2 months ago, everything was leading up to a point. Now you've got the McMahon thing. You got Lesnar gone. You got Punk hurt. You got Rollins hurt.
Yeah.
For who knows how long, and that's your. As much as most of us don't like the Lesnar jumping in and out every 5-6 months, it was still part of what they did, and it was still you expected it every year. It was happen.
But now The Rock's going to take that role. Right. Now that he's in charge and he's got something to He's invested in this now. He's going to do what he can to keep it afloat. And if they think that particular situation is necessary, they're going to do what they need to do to get. They're trying to get their eyes off of what's going on.
Right. They want people talking about something other than McMahon's a sick freak.
Right.
Anything other past that.
Well, it'll never go away. It'll get worse and worse, and we'll follow it every step of the way. But anyway, that's the week in wrestling of what we've got at this particular point in time. The good, the bad, and the oh my God, it's unbelievably ugly. We're going to continue this. We'll keep watching it every week, and we appreciate you stopping by and watching. By all means, subscribe, share, comment, like, give it everything you can. Pass it on to your friends. Give us some comments. Let us know what you want to talk about. We're going to float back into some old school stuff pretty soon. Talk about it how it used to be back in the old days. A lot of this unfortunate McMahon crap's come up, and it's made us think back to the old days and the old territories, and maybe we'll get together, do a cast on some of the old territory matches, some of the old territory grudge matches, and some of the old rivalries that we used to watch and really, really enjoy. So if any of you fans out there got some old rivalries that you used to watch on TBS or Mid-South or
World
Class or Memphis or
wherever,
well, Memphis was a good
Mid-Atlantic and Memphis,
Memphis was such a good area.
Yeah, we didn't catch on to that till later because we never got it here.
Well, but we got the magazines.
The magazines. The magazines kept us updated.
Well, which really freaked you out, because when everybody in the world started getting WTBS, see, this is another podcast. We'll get to that later. We see Tommy Rich being Tommy Rich, the guy, the baby face of the world. But then you read a magazine saying that he turned on Law. He turned on Lawler.
How much everybody hates his guts and they want to stab him.
Wait a minute. Whoa! He's an all-American boy here. What the hell you mean? He was just on last Saturday. He and Gordon were good buddies. So anyway, we'll get into that. Let's do that. Let's plan our next part. Yep. We'll do a sneak peek. We'll do a little insert here for the old style territories. We'll jump in into that for a little bit. So give us some comments on what you want us to throw back.
Oh, yeah.
Give us some of your guys, some of your favorite rivalries, and we'll toss them out there and see what we think about it.
Yep.
So
we also got Super Bowl coming up.
Super Bowl coming up. We'll probably do a podcast here, our regular weekly episode. This is kind of a special wrestling deal for this week. We'll do our normal weekly episode for other sports, and we'll get that posted up here too, so we can talk about the Super Bowl and the upcoming Major League Baseball season and some NCAA basketball. And yes, the Oklahoma City Thunder is still in second place overall, first place in the West. So, but anyway, thanks for stopping by. Like us, comment, give us a little bit of share, and we'll go from there. And we'll talk to you next time.
See you soon.
All right, bye.